Welcome in. It's the Leaf Hour edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the next 2 hours. We're live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. Good day to kind of calm down, dissect. We get ready for game 2 tomorrow night. Got in here about, a little after 2. Saw my boy Sammy deep in thought. You know, JB, those thought bubbles you see in the comics, like when Jughead's ready to decide on whether to ask Betty or Veronica to the prom.
Okay.
I saw those all afternoon over Sammy's head.
He's been thinking thoughts.
Very, very deep thoughts to the point where he shushed me.
He did?
Yeah, upstairs.
Oh,
save it for the show.
Save it. Yeah,
save it for the show. That's what he said.
Today,
He's loaded.
Today is the ultimate. Like, listen, we have a lot of days where we don't say much, but today is the ultimate save it day. I think, after what happened last night, you didn't want to have any of the takes or any of the thoughts come out, but we had to wade through all the free candy we had first. So we had lots of time. We had lots of time before our show to do something else instead of talking about the Leafs.
Yeah. What was this?
Stork?
Stork Canada sent us a huge box of chocolates,
Toughiffy.
which is
I'm powered by Toughiffy today.
I'm not sure I've ever seen someone's eyes light up. Like, "Boy, this is good quality stuff. Oh, my God. Oh.
it is really good. Really good stuff.
It's none of that waxy stuff.
I think
That was real.
we're good for the rest of the series.
Should get us through.
We'll see.
Okay, so Leafs win an all-important home game to start this series off, and you'd think we would have started today off with, the chances of going up 2-0 back to Florida and what that would mean, but something tells me we're going to take this thing to a different direction.
Can we start with that? That they did win?
Yeah,
Sure.
no, 100%.
All right.
100%.
I'm not sure where it is in the pecking order when it comes to Leaf fans right now.
Well,
The
win matters.
I think that we should push it to the forefront because that's a great hockey game. And that, I'm not going to say it's a roadmap for them, but you can see a world where they can have success here.
They not only played with them in the first 40 minutes, they exceeded the game that Florida we felt like was going to play. I thought from a forecheck to a physical presence, night and day from whatever we saw 2 years ago.
I could have seen a world where they went through this whole series without having 20, 30 minutes that looked as positive as the start of that game. I thought given the stakes and the context and the opponent, that's as good as I've seen them play. A lot of it was how many guys I'll say Max Pacioretty, but how many guys did the Leafs put on the ice at the start of a series, where usually Florida goes out there and mows down a bunch of guys. You saw Seth Jones hit the deck and Tkachuk and Barkov and
Kulikov off the hit by McCabe, reverse hit.
Yeah, like a bunch of Panther jerseys ended up on the ice. That was nice to see.
No overview from Craig Berube today?
I will say that Craig Berube was pretty short last night. And there's probably a reason for that, and we'll get into the reason about that. But he did talk today. He was a little bit, I would say he was cooler head today. And we could go down to clip number 9 to talk about the start and what they looked like at the start of the game last night.
Well, it was a good period. I thought we were very aggressive on our toes, if you look at the gaps and the reloads by our guys, that's crucial. And just getting pucks to the net, and attacking. So, like I said, I kind of backed off a little bit too much later on. But the start of the game in the first period was very good.
The visual of Max Pacioretty crashing Barkov down, to me, Max Domi knocking Matthew Tkachuk down and then going down on a 2-on-1, forcing Bobrovsky to make a great save. Those are images that should excite Leaf fans.
Yeah. Those are the guys that we thought could matter, might matter, and Domi lived up to it. He had a great game. And Pacioretty just, Sammy, the one thing we did joke about before the game, the only person who didn't enjoy watching Pacioretty last game was Nick Robertson. Because, not many guys in the league can look as big and strong as Pacioretty did there, and also make plays and hang on to pucks. I'm going to have 2 assists and 4 hits. He was all over it, man.
I think we laid it out yesterday during the first hour that one of the big fears, for me at least, was the Leafs looking intimidated by the Panthers and looking a little bit scared and getting hit and going away.
Yeah.
And all three of us can sit here and say that was absolutely not the case in game one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long series. The more it happens, more stuff that goes on. They could go away as it goes on, but game one test in terms of physicality, the Leafs passed with flying colors.
Even the first ridiculous penalty.
Oh, my God.
I liked what was happening there because Marchand was, for the first time in the game, kind of giving guys a couple. And I liked that Domi was there in his face. Like, we're not doing that. Even though Domi did nothing, and they called a cross-checking penalty in what is the worst call I've seen this hockey season.
Ridiculous.
Maybe the worst call in the history of the league.
It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. And if it happened, it was the other guy.
In a Stanley Cup playoffs.
Game one of a playoff series.
It's where you'll ever find a cross-check.
Marchand is like starting to stir it up a little bit.
Yeah.
He gives a little something here, a little something there. And he says, hey, that's enough. Grabs his stick.
Oh, my
and
God.
then put Domi in the
Domi
box.
didn't even have 2 hands on his stick to cross-check.
He grabbed Marchand's stick.
Yeah, ridiculous. Now, do you want to do a Paul Maurice overview?
Yeah, let's do Paul Maurice's overview. Of the game.
Clip one.
Clip
Paul
one
Maurice,
for
yeah.
Paul Maurice. Clip 1, Paul Maurice.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to expect that you can look either way again. You're hopeful that you don't look the way you did at the start, but the other team's protecting a lead at that point, so they're not going to look like that either. It was the perfect storm of that's not the way you want to start when you're everybody's got lots of energy and jump, but there's some tension to it always at the start. So when you're behind one, and that was our first period, we didn't look like ourselves, and then righted it in the second, and after that, had a pretty good push in the third.
Okay, that's enough. For 7 minutes in.
Okay.
Get to the elephant in the room here, for goodness sakes.
Okay.
Sammy. From one Sammy to another Sammy. Sam Bennett. Okay. No one's putting on their surprise face on today about the way this guy acts and how he conducts his business this time of year. We talked about this at great lengths yesterday.
Yeah.
Why should anybody be surprised?
No one is surprised. Sportsnet's Chris Black has quite the thread together of the Bennett hits. I don't know if you went through them at all, but over the past few years, the amount of sneaky punches and hits and the whoopsie-daisy moments, this guy obviously does not get the benefit of the doubt. We knew this coming into the series.
He does.
No, he does get the benefit.
He does from the league.
Yes.
Nobody but the league gives him the benefit of the doubt. 0 people.
But that's all that matters, right? It's all that matters.
It matters that the players know he's full of whatever,
but it doesn't make a difference. Only the Leafs or the league can make a difference on this guy. But I tip my hat to him, man, because he is sneaky good. He may be one of the best I've ever seen in the game since I've
Is that
first
the right word,
watched it.
best?
At concealing, at hiding your.
But he doesn't hide it, Kyper.
Well,
No, he does hide
He
it.
didn't get in trouble, Sam. He didn't
does
get a
hide
penalty
it,
or a
Sammy. He
suspension. So
does. He
did.
conceals it.
Yeah,
okay? You cannot detect it.
Everyone knows.
But he gets away with it.
He gets away with
Why?
it because he hides it better than anyone else. That's why.
Did he hide?
Yeah,
But
he hit it. He hit it, Sam.
You can make the case on that play. I looked at that play and I was like, I don't know. If it's not him, no one suspends
where
for that.
he's great at is that he can make it look like anyone else's play. That little bump, anyone else makes it, and we're not having any type of conversation about it.
Yeah, but it wasn't anyone else.
No, and that's why
I know
we're having this conversation at all. Because otherwise, it'd be like, of course you're not suspending for that. But it is Bennett.
And this is
and
where
you probably should.
The league wants to stay consistent, is that no one's history comes into play
until
unless we deem it a suspendable act as is.
Yeah, Kip, you're 100% right on
That's
that point, which
the
people
issue.
have missed.
This is why he's so damn good at hiding and concealing.
Yeah. God, I hate the word good. Effective. It's not, he's not good at it. He's not the best at it.
Has he been suspended before in the past?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then he does have a rap sheet.
But the point is, it doesn't matter until
Prior history doesn't matter?
No,
only once the incident is ruled suspension
worthy, and then his history comes into play.
Okay.
Then you start tacking on more games. But this guy is like 3 seasons in a row. You go back to 2 years ago with Matthew Nyes.
Yeah.
Then last year,
and he also cross-checked Bunting in the head that same game.
And then last year, game 3, teammate now, Brad Marchand, right?
Knocked him out, yeah.
Knocked him out for 2 games.
So let's continue to let him play unhinged. It's good for the league. Is that what they want?
It's great for Florida Panthers.
Yeah, and that's in turn great for the league because it's their favorite team. They don't get suspended unless it's a blatant elbow to the mouth of Brandon Hagel. You can make the argument that it's not suspendable or whatever, but it's a clear blindside elbow to the head of an unsuspecting player.
It's not clear, Sam. It's not clear.
But how is it not clear?
I
Kipper?
know. It's because that this time of year, the mandate from all teams is to crash a goalie or take his eyes away or make it difficult for him. This is what happens this time of year. And that incident looked pretty much common with what you generally see, and that's the concealing part.
Do we think that the initial shot from Reinhart had an influence on the result? Sam Reinhart hit him with a shot, 80-mile-per-hour wrister in the mask, influences the concussion
in the
factor?
first period.
Yeah, he plays long after that, obviously.
I can't answer that.
No.
I can't. I know from my history and ultimately kind of shutting it down because of my last head injury that everyone can be affected differently. There's different symptoms and different effects. This guy, I think Elliot Friedman had him at 10 minutes last night on the show between Sam Bennett hitting him
in real time,
10 minutes, came back to the bench, went back, and then 10 minutes later, he's thrown up in his mask, and then he threw up in the bench.
Is that shake he does of the head after? I saw a concussion guy saying that that's usually, can be a sign of some sort of damage. But I will say, so Sam, I am making these points about Stolarz and how he disguises it. The contact's not that obvious, that it's like for sure a suspension. I think because of who it is and because there's shouldn't be benefit of the doubt, I do think he should have got a game. I do think that was enough for me. We want to protect these goaltenders.
No, I mean, but the thing is, this is the second straight series where the Florida Panthers have looked for a star and done something greasy to knock a star out of a series. Did it with Hagel, just did it with Stolarz, and guess who gets to play next game to probably do it to somebody else? Because if you continue to get away with this stuff, why the hell wouldn't he go out there and run around and try to hurt people?
I am curious to see if he's either emboldened or if he feels like he's playing on his final foul in the NBA.
I mean, he didn't get fined,
Borny. He's more careful.
He didn't get a fine. It was like, it's not even a thing. It's like it never even happened.
Yeah.
They close their eyes and pretend it's not Sam Bennett, and it's fine. He can just continue to go unchecked.
Let's go to Craig Berube, clip 1 on the shot to Stolarz, and we'll pick it up after that.
Craig, what was your view on the Sam Bennett hit on Stolarz? And
elbow to the head. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, clear as day.
Were you satisfied with your players' response to that? Like, did they handle it the way you would like, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you. I mean, I think at the time, we handled it the way we should handle it. I'm not sure why there's not a call on it, but I get it. They miss calls, but it's clearly a penalty.
Yeah,
it is you make contact with a goalie at that spot. It's at best or worst, however side you pick, it's a penalty.
10 out of 10 times, that's a penalty.
Penalty.
Yeah.
But they got every touch of the stick on somebody's hands, they put the hand up. But like
A lot of calls.
the guy goes flying elbow into the goalie's head, and they're like, yeah, let's play on here. The dirtiest guy in the league does it, no problem.
We talked about the way this series would be officiated, and it really did play into the Leafs' hand, although the power play didn't come through on 5 attempts. But taking those penalties for Florida kind of derailed them.
Yeah. Well, in the third period, too, as the game got close, they took 2 penalties that the Leafs, by the way, they took 2 penalties. They weren't called for 2 infractions that weren't there. Those were penalties. So, yeah, they want to play that way. I think the officials called penalties where they saw them at the end, but some of that stuff was missed earlier in the game, not overly well officiated. So I think we all know where we stand on Bennett now.
So can I just ask you guys, like, what quantifies, like, what is it that like allows a conversation about a suspension to be had?
Well, I mean, they had one about it. 100%.
No, but like,
the league would have talked about it.
I mean, what fits the criteria?
More violence. How's
So,
that? More
okay,
violent,
but-
more impactful.
Do they like blindside hits?
No, I know.
Do they like elbows to the head? Do they like guys knocked out of series? Do they like guys with prior history?
Yeah, I know.
Like check here,
No.
boys. It's
But
it's
there's
the
not-
same
It's
thing.
not check.
It
check.
is.
It's not. Listen.
What am I like?
There's a level of force that matters.
I would love to tell you that is a suspendable act, but I can't if it was anyone else but Sam Bennett. It's not, Sam. It's not enough to get a guy suspended. It is when you factor in
Penalty.
Sam's history
Correct.
and motive, all of it.
Is
but
intent matter or no?
It's not a suspendable act.
And
That's the problem.
The initial point Kip made is that if that is Mitch Marner that does it to someone else, everyone goes, well, that's not a suspension. He massaged him. He fell kind of into him softly. And we go, it's not a suspension. If Marner got suspended for that play, we'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
But
it's true.
it is Bennett.
It's true,
It is Bennett.
It's
So we all
just
know it's on
not
purpose, and we know it's
enough.
malicious.
right?
So you have to look at it like it's not Bennett,
Him.
which is absurd.
Totally.
Is one of the more absurd things. It's like, oh, yep, that's just player B that just never does anything. Like it's the most
I
absurd
think
thing
we've
ever.
reached that's exactly where if it's Nick Cousins or it's Willie Nylander doing it, no name bar on the incident.
Also add to the fact that news broke fairly quickly that either he was, I don't know if he was taking out on a stretcher or not, but ambulance, hospital. Now this story grows legs, and I don't know. Like, of course, if you're the Leafs, you want to take all the precautionary measures that you can, but I mean, that certainly grew legs on the whole thing. And of course, Florida Panthers today, behind the scenes, are accusing of the ambulance in the hospital to be, a ploy to get him suspended.
Yeah, but they should know better. They should know he's not going to get suspended. Why would they worry?
It is this great drama.
Right.
If Florida's mad about that,
No, it's not that they're mad at that. It's just we know they're sitting there going, come on, a little nudge to the head. The guy goes to the hospital.
I guess
they went to the Jim Montgomery School of Doctors. They're
Doctor.
What's the hospital? Unless you're going to the hospital to get an MRI or a
I thought maybe
CAT scan,
vertebrae, like the way his head twisted or
then
something, maybe some neck thing.
it might be a whiplash.
Yeah.
It could be a whiplash. And I don't doubt for one second. I mean, he's either dizzy. Clearly, there's nausea involved. He threw up.
Yeah.
It could have easily had come from the whiplash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. All right, we got a number of clips on this.
So I think the one there's the 2 Maurice ones.
Okay.
So these are hard for me to
We have
play.
Berube too on it.
Let's start with Paul Maurice 2 from last night on the Bennett hit. This is after the game from last night, number 2.
Just the Sam Bennett elbow on Anthony Stolarz. What are your
this is
thoughts
what's
on
going to
what
happen. You're going to light your hair on fire, and I'm going to let you. The referee is standing right there when it happened. And then you will do your thing, and the league will do its thing, and I'll coach the next game, hopefully.
Okay. Now,
Pretty simple.
this is from today. And this is the whole press conference from this morning with Paul Maurice was Sam Bennett related.
All right.
And this was towards the end of the press conference when he was getting particularly perturbed about the topic.
Line of
And this is a
questioning.
longer one with a couple questions mixed in. So let's play number 4. Paul Maurice 4, please, today in Toronto.
Plays hard. Like, there was a hit 2.5 years ago that you guys have shown 4,000 times. There was a parking ticket 7 years ago that I think actually made the video. Like, he's got the puck, he's on a power play, goes to the net. But not through the beat. He's got the puck. He's going to the net. I understand. Like, call the fire department, put your hair out. Let's move on, please. Like, the edge. He plays hard. He has the puck a lot. If he doesn't have the puck, we've got a system that says you got to hit the guy with the puck. There's your line. No, I knew you weren't letting this go. Right.
There's been, as long as you've been around and I've been around, the players on teams that you love them when when they're yours, and you hate them when they're not, be it Dale Hunter or whoever it was over the years. Where does Sam fit in that group
Yeah,
of
I
guys?
don't think even close. Like, we're 6 games into the playoffs, and he took a puck outside the crease, and now he's a villain. But I expected that when I got up this morning. It just still surprises me, fellas. Like, I mean, there were far more egregious collisions in that game last night, but we won't be talking about those, I would imagine, today.
You coached 2 years here, surprising?
No, it doesn't. I'm not upset about it. I'm really not. I know, you know what you're getting this morning. I know where this is going. Honest to God, I mean, I've seen every hit that Sam Bennett's thrown since he was 12 years old on TV this morning. I get it. Go ahead.
He's the puppet master's at work.
That's pretty good, though.
The puppet master's at work.
It's pretty good.
Sure.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, I give him credit for hanging in there and defending his guy, you know, as much as
Yeah.
nothing there. Nothing there.
Oh, it's a lot easier once you know the league's on your side.
Yeah.
they
Now
always are.
now you can really go to town with it's you guys.
Yeah.
It's not us, it's you guys.
Right. But I like that Maurice is agitated early, because that's agitated Maurice.
The problem is, JB, that this is right into their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You're playing
Yep.
into something that they've already proven they can be very successful.
No,
with.
they're the
It's
best
like-
at it.
it's
And
like
I'll allow you the
taking
word
guys,
best there.
taking
There-
guys out.
there
Yeah,
is.
they are
No,
the best
dragging
at
the
that.
game into the
You know,
muck
they-
and not
they-
making it a hockey
They
game. making
love
it-
being agitated. They
Yeah.
love, like,
They want this.
They
Like,
Critically
want
injuring
this.
opponents.
They
They're
want
really
okay, we
good
get
at
your
that.
point,
They're
man.
really
I
good
got
at
it.
that. They're really good at
like
that.
no,
Tampa Bay, that series.
no one is focusing on the Leafs being up 1-0 right now.
Right.
We started
Right?
with it. We led with that.
Yeah.
because we chose to.
But that's they brought the Tampa series down to that level, and that's what they want to do. And if this is their sweet spot, and they want to play the game on their terms. So this is a big challenge for me for the Leafs. Is you can't make the guy who had 51 points this year the focal point of the series. You can't chase
Yeah.
Sam Bennett around.
They did last night.
Who did?
Post. Everything's now
Yes.
today on an off season, and clearly by the sound bites, it was all about Sam Bennett today,
Right.
and
But the team can't.
that's what you're going to see now. Does it get dragged into game 2, or does it get left behind?
Also doesn't help that who would Sam Bennett not beat the tar out of on the Leafs? You know, like, this is a pretty sturdy boy.
Well,
I don't think
that's
Uh,
a conversation.
do you guys want to play Berube? Let's do Berube on Stolarz, his little update on Stolarz. Let's play clip 5.
He's doing well. Yeah, he's here. He's doing good. So, yeah.
Will they be available tomorrow night?
We'll see. Don't know that yet. Don't know that either.
Did he go to hospital?
Well,
to get evaluated.
How long was he in hospital for?
I don't know. I'll call the doctor today and ask him. I don't know.
He's just like,
I don't know.
what was the question?
how long was he in the hospital for?
I moved on from it. Yeah.
A few
I don't wanna
hours.
Talk about it. It's over.
He was released last night.
So the end of that clip is he's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah, nor should he.
Yeah.
Nor
That's-
should he. It's not his business. He's not that guy. You're asking the wrong coach. We've seen it all season long. This guy is not a kiss and tell guy.
Let's just stick with the theme. Finish this off. We got Berube on retribution.
Yes.
Let's have him follow up clip 7 from Berube.
You moved on from it, but retribution is part of the sport. It can be. What do you talk to your players about this, or?
Well, I talk to my players about focusing on the game and playing the game hard and playing it the right way. Like I said, there's an opportunity to take the body on somebody. I don't care who it is. You go through them, but you can't just you're going to go out and you think you're going to get back at Bennett and you end up in the penalty box, and we don't need that. But it's the focus is we got to focus on the game, okay, and playing the game the way we need to play it, and that's got to be the focus.
Why is there a Maurice clip on this clip sheet using the Stolarz injury as motivation?
Some guy asked him about that. We don't have to play it, but
All right.
just put it in there in case we needed it. But I couldn't love that answer more.
It's the right answer, isn't it?
It is, but there should be somebody on the Leaf roster that needs to find a way to answer back without derailing what Berube's talking about.
Fight?
Maybe.
Who
I don't know.
could that even be? McCabe?
Nice
Benoit.
could go Bennett.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Nice could go Bennett.
Listen, buddy,
I
Nice
don't
is their
want that.
biggest, strongest guy, but I don't think I want to roll
I'm
that
not
dice
sure
either.
I do either.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
he could.
Yeah.
McCabe could too, but I'm not sure I want him either.
Benoit's the answer.
But answers can come from McMahon driving hard to the net and losing an edge. Same thing with Holmberg. That's another
Well, hey,
angle. I'm sorry, but now we're opened up to
It's open season.
it's open season.
well,
a
and
little
you
bit.
can't say that Florida would be like, like get my fainting couch. The series before, there's a clip of Tkachuk saying to the Tampa Bay bench, "I don't want you. I want Kucherov." You got them targeting the other guy's stars
Yeah.
too. They're familiar with how that game works.
Now it's a fine line between a 2-minute, 5-minute charging. Listen, that's the nature of the game. Is like you're always on a fine line this time of year.
So
You got to make some hard decisions on when to get a lick in and when to back off. That's the experience part of this time of year. And I don't know what the answer is, right or wrong, until at least as a player when I was in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you decide.
So let me ask the question that people who criticize hockey culture would say. How does that help them win the game? And I'm asking that sincerely, not from a sarcastic whatever.
Yeah.
How does that help the Maple Leafs get past the Florida Panthers in round
well,
one?
we won't know until we see the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a rallying point. Maybe it's a power play that ends up, I fell into Grand Fuhr.
Mm-hmm.
We got a power play off of that. Okay?
Right.
I made the decision that if Chris Pronger is going to cross-check me from behind, I'm going to drag everybody into the fight here.
Mm.
And that's the gamble that I took, that I could have ended up with the penalty. I could have ended up with getting thrown out of the game, intent to injure, or I could end up with a power play of our own. That's
I agree.
We
It can't
don't
be
know,
premeditated, right?
JB, there's no answer to it until you're in your moment and you make your hard decision.
You take your shot.
And you take your shot.
Yeah.
And you hope and pray for the outcome that you're in that dressing room and it's like, hey, look how hard he played. Look at what he went out there and he made something happen. He got a reaction. And that's what Florida's been built on through Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk, is that they go out there and their answer is, I'd rather do this than nothing at all.
like Chase Mitch
And
Marner
there are
around at
times,
the final buzzer.
even in that game, what was the horrid game that the Leafs played in the first round there against Ottawa?
Game 5.
Game 5. It's like, boys, would you rather do something trying than do nothing at all and then watch your whole city go, what the hell was that?
Right.
So
are you okay if
it.
that doesn't become available to them in game 2? It doesn't show up till game 3.5.
I think
4?
I think there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And they're up 1-0, and your coach wants you to not worry about things between whistles. But there might be a time and place. It might not be in game 2, might not be in game 3, but there might be a time when you can get a lick in, and you're going, that's the one I'm picking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know we'll see how this thing plays out, but that's how you go about this time of
Patrick
year.
can make himself real valuable.
The team, the fundamental difference between this year's version of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers is the Leafs have shown to be a much more physical team with the new personnel under Berube. They have been physical, but they're not dirty, and they're not a dirty team. And that is the fundamental difference where who on the Leafs is going to go out there and take your dirty shot? Because they're not a bunch of dirtbags.
Yeah, Domi maybe.
Right? And it's like, that's the fundamental difference where you say it's really great that they do all these dirty things and they're just so gritty and dirty, good for them. But I just don't see, like, is it Lawton? Is it Lorentz? Like, is it, these guys just don't have that dirty side to them. And that's
Can they
unfortunately,
get past without it?
I don't know. But the Panthers get away with it. So do you have to try to get away with it, but then you get dragged into doing stupid stuff?
Not to get ahead of ourselves here, but if the Leafs get past Florida and Washington gets by Carolina, you got Tom Wilson coming up next. You're right back into a guy that will.
Yeah, you got to deal with these people.
You got to deal with these people.
Yeah.
So
definitely,
I don't know. Like, I don't think that there's time to turn Nyes into this type of player. I mean, we saw him, his strengths driving hard to the net. His strengths are his hands, scoring a big goal that they didn't necessarily have 2 years ago. So can they win turning the cheek somewhat?
I think if they're still physical and in your face, that way they can.
Yeah.
But you got to keep that element up.
I think that's their best strategy, to be honest
and I don't
with you.
know. We haven't seen them sustain that level of physicality for 5 straight games at any point. I don't know how
I
that
think to be
works.
desperate enough for a Nyes or somebody to go out there and try to take something on their own, you almost have to see the series completely turn into Florida's favor, where you're in that position of, if I don't do something, we're just going to quietly fade into the sunset. And to me, they showed enough in game 1 that they don't have to go for a retribution. They don't have to fight fire with fire here. They just got to keep doing their own thing here to find ways to end up with W's.
So in that moment, after it happens, Carlo's right there. Like, he gives him a shot, gives him the cross check in the back. Would you have preferred the flippers off jump kind of thing, or like in that tight? Was it 3-1 at that point when that happens? Like, what would you have wanted
with Bennett hitting Stolarz?
Yeah,
I don't believe for 1 second Carlo or anyone else could have read it.
I don't think they thought it was that bad.
No one thought it was that bad. And you are now, you got a coach that is instilling discipline and stay within the game plan. It would have been out of character for Carlo or anyone else to jump Bennett at that moment on something that wasn't that prominent of a play.
Do we want to hear any of the Bennett thoughts, or
they are triggering. So maybe.
Do we want to go to break first?
Well, no. Let's play Bennett clip 1, and then you'll see if you want to play Bennett clip 2. Bennett clip 1.
I mean, I think I can understand why people react that way, because Stoley's injured, and that's of course when your starting goalie gets injured, people are going to be upset. Looking back at the video, I mean, really, the contact that was made was in my opinion, it's really just a bump. There was no forceful action. I'm trying to score. I'm the last thing in my mind is thinking about, elbowing him in the head. And like when it happened, I didn't even realize that that I had made contact. So there wasn't a ton of force in it.
One of my favorite drops from my good friend JD Bunkus and Ben Ennis used to have a thing on their show, a good show. Today on Liars Who Lie.
Yeah. It's the Cookie Monster going, I wasn't even thinking about the cookies.
The cookie?
Cookies were the last thing on my mind.
Cookies?
Cookies, who wants? I was thinking about salad.
Cookies?
All right. Take a break.
Yeah,
We'll take a break.
yeah.
I
We
need
got
one.
more hockey to talk about.
Oh, we also have Henrik Lundqvist coming up at
More.
5 o'clock.
We
Oh, yeah.
do.
Yeah, so you guys are going
King
to look
Henry.
ugly today.
Yes, it's ugly day.
Yeah.
Also, Joseph Woll, kind of been calling on him lately. He ends up going in, not the way I would have thought. I want to get your reaction on Joseph Woll coming in relief when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Leaf Hour edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne show. At Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Going into this series, I did mention that I
It's your fault.
would have liked to have seen a tad of a break for Stolarz. If there was a window, I saw another one to get Joseph Woll in game one. It didn't happen. I got to tell you, though, watching the first Seth Jones goal, did not like it at all on Stolarz's part again.
Yep.
But certainly made some key saves before being pulled out of the lineup. But how concerned are you now that Joseph Woll in came cold? Didn't look great, guys. Didn't also look great. And where are you now going into game 2 Wednesday night?
My initial thought was that this was because I didn't think Stolarz's injury was serious at first. And so my initial thought was that this was good. We had talked about Woll getting in there. I like a world where they kind of can, step in for one another, or they go back to playing not so heavy a workload. And Woll has been good historically in the playoffs when they set him in for a couple of games. He's done a great job. So I thought it was a good thing. He didn't play great. I know, I don't mind the third one. That's a tough tip. Hate the Belinsky's one. But the other one I didn't mind either. What was the
Off in the middle of the ice? I think it was Lucerain. Is it Lucerain?
Lucerain with
The one-handed,
poke,
the one-handed redirect.
Yeah, but I will say, and one of the things that's I think kind of getting lost in this is tough spot for Woll. Hasn't played in a long time. Goes in cold. Big pressure game. He also wasn't terrible. He made 17 to 20 saves. In the first period, high danger chances were 5-0 for Florida. By the time the game's over, it's 14-12 Florida. He had to make some saves along the way, and I thought he held on to some pucks and got pieces. And
First shot of the game you see is a Reinhardt wrister from the top of the circle, like almost. So
I don't think he was terrible. I think he'll be good.
I think last night on Leafs Talk I was too critical. I was just upset about Stolarz, upset about the whole situation, a little too hot under the collar. Like, it is a hard situation to come in. I think he made it look hard at times. I thought he looked timid in there. Not like, I guess it just looks so much different than Stolarz. Stolarz feels like he's double the size, feels like he's flying around a lot more. Woll is just a completely different stylistic goalie, so it takes some getting used to your eye. I have full faith going into tomorrow night that a prepared, rested, ready to go Woll will look good. I'm not worried about it. Didn't love a couple of the goals last night, but ultimately they got the win. That's what matters.
And I do think, let's say Stolarz is ready to go in a few days here. There's a great scenario where Woll plays really well. And they go, what are we going to do here? And you have a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
Better, that's a situation a lot of teams would love to have. So I don't think it's necessarily all bad. I don't know they're that much worse off. Short term.
I like Joseph Woll going down to Florida. There are times when you've watched this year that Joseph Woll can go on the road and like steal a win.
Yeah.
right? He's got that type of game.
Because he's pretty calm, right? Like you talk about Stolarz as much. There's much more going on than when Woll plays.
Okay, let's get Craig Berube's thoughts on Joseph Woll.
Not an easy spot for Joe to come in. Just a word on his performance in a difficult situation and how he.
Yeah, no, it's a tough situation for sure, and especially in a playoff game, with this magnitude and everything. So, he handled it well, I thought, and listen, we got the win.
All right, did pretty good.
Exactly how I feel.
Yeah,
I did. It did send a shiver up and down my spine when they flashed to the bench. It was Dennis Hill to be sitting there. I was like, oh my God. And then, who was it? 17 Rodriguez backed right into Woll, 3 or 4 shifts after he comes into the game. I'm like, they're going to try to take this guy out too.
Yeah.
They're 100% going to try to do the exact same thing that they did to Stolarz.
I don't think that's the last goalie contact coming this series.
No, they're going to be.
The Leafs do have 2 goalies that have had injuries.
This is
scouting report.
This is every team's game plan.
Right.
Get in traffic, couple bumps here and there. Let's test this guy out. It's coming for Joseph Woll too.
Yeah. Yep, it is. So we'll see if he can sort it out next game.
And by the way, he's had really good numbers against the Panthers in his career. I guess he's only played 3 games against them, but .940 save percentage and a 2.33 goals against. So in 3 games against them, he's been really good. So,
any concerns on the checking line, particularly in the third period? I don't know what Lawton's ended up -3. Lost a couple of times on a few of those goals. Any concerns there?
I'm not that concerned about that line, Kip. They didn't have a great night.
No.
No doubt about that. But do you think that this is Kampf's time? After a win, maybe sub him in?
Too quick.
I thought there would have been probably half a dozen other times when Berube would have gone to David Kampf, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it now.
It's tough because there's just no one to take out. The only name you might consider is Holmberg. So they've been really good.
But he's a big, strong guy, and we saw him get to the net. And who ran him over? Kulikov?
Oh my
Kulikov
God,
murdered him
so hard.
And that guy
Popped right up.
got up like it was nothing.
Leafs have played 7 games in the playoffs. Do you know how many goals against Holmberg has been on the ice for? A 0.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not taking that guy out. In fact,
and that's fine. He played 8
I want
minutes
him to
last
go-
night. Everyone else played 11 plus.
I want him to go to the net as hard as he did before he got hit.
But keep going.
But go another foot.
Yeah,
Go one more foot.
Yeah.
And get
a great play.
Kulikov to drive you right into Bobrovsky.
Yeah. It was a great play. So Kampf is a good fit for this series, right? He's a smothering defensive guy. If you want your 4th line to be a little bit more locked down, Yarncroc maybe. Yarncroc, sorry.
I think he was a bit of a water bug too for me last night. I didn't mind him.
Okay, well then,
I didn't mind him.
You got the win.
Okay.
Kampf's not coming in.
I think, though, that is a matchup you need to watch because that Lundell-Osterainen Marchand line is a nightmare. They're really good.
They're really good.
Really good.
So
After the game, not even with a few seconds left, I went down to do a hit for Sportsnet Central. So I didn't catch the end of the game with Brad Marchand going after Mitch Marner.
That was Tkachuk.
Or I'm sorry, Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tkachuk. But I did see it, and I'm telling you, I'd be fuming right now if I was a Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was
There you go.
incredibly cheap on
A little knee run here.
Matthews. If
then chase him down
Marner
after.
doesn't dodge him, that's knee on knee.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then the cross check, and I get it. You've lost, and you want to send a little bit of a message, but that to me is a green light to go on the ice. You got to pay attention to that stuff too. I know you're trying to close out a win here, but that's your most important player on the line, on the ice there, where Matthew Tkachuk's going after him. No, make it ugly at the end there. He started it.
yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. That's the MO. Injure.
I do vacillate on is it better to, he wants that, right? He wants a big scrum. He wants to look like they, know.
Yeah, I know, but you could get a couple free shots in there at the end.
Yeah.
What happened? What's the rules of fighting at the end? Is there
It's not. It's just one punch. I don't want to fight, Sammy. I just
Okay.
want to get one really good lick in.
Yeah,
That's all.
you'd love that.
You know, we got a few minutes left in Leafs hour. Power play could have been better. What do you think?
You know where I have a problem with the power play is like it looks great when you win a draw and you score it 9 seconds in, but when it gets iced down there and you guys got to come back in, and who's carrying the puck and how clean do you get in? That part gets ugly for the Leafs.
Sketchy entries.
Sketchy entries.
You know what I hate? I hate the backhand chip. They love the little chip backhand sauce that a D just goes bang and knocks it out of the air. We know you could backhand chip sauce it. That's great. It's not a serious play. Chip it past his feet and skate onto it. Like, I hate this little chip. Nylander was unbelievable last night. Loves the backhand chip entry. That gets knocked down.
But he's the best.
Matthews too.
He's the best finisher out there last night by a country
he was
mile.
second in the NHL in goals this year, and he looked like it. He was, he's just had that.
And you just live with the fact that he could do what he did in Game 7 and Game 1, and then there's other times when it's like, what's he doing out there? But that's
the highs
that's okay.
are
That's
high, but look at that play.
That's where you accept him, right?
And this sauce, this touch.
Berube's done a nice job of really, truly knowing what he is, and hoping that like the good Willie will overcome the bad Willie.
And while we're getting in stuff before the final buzzer here, Morgan Riley was up in the play more in that game than maybe the entire Ottawa series.
Yeah.
That's encouraging.
For sure. Yeah. Loved Willie last night. Love if the captain could hit the net.
But what is going on?
Am I allowed to say that?
He's got the yips, buddy.
He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
The empty netter was unbelievable. That was like watching me on a 3-foot putt miss it by a foot.
Shoot it in.
I don't know.
What's going on?
I said in my article today he needs to sacrifice a chicken, switch his stick, switch his tape colors.
Yeah, something needs to happen here.
You know, he had 11 shot attempts last night. He had 5 good shots, real scoring chances, but he's just the one where he misses the net after Nyes bulldozes Jones. It's just like, make the guy make a save.
I mean, I've watched him his entire career. Him, when he's right, what is the percentage of that shot hitting the back of the net in your mind? Like it's like an 80% shot.
Over.
And it just bangs it off the end glass from the hash marks. It's like, what is happening?
He's second in the NHL in missed nets. He's got 16 missed nets in playoffs.
16. Who's leading? You say he's second?
Cale Makar.
Wow.
And tied with
The good news is you found a way to win without him shooting it in the net, but at some point he's going to have to
big time
be the guy.
Barkov for you?
Did he play?
Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, quiet.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great
Not
at all.
great. Bobrovsky, 3 goals on 8 shots. Again, another opening series where the Leafs get in a comfortable lead and bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
So Bobrovsky was really good at the in the back half or the third period. He actually gave his team a chance to tie the score.
I thought when Domi got stopped in that breakaway, I was like, oh, that's the one that we all
Bob's going
remember.
for a poke check there, by the way. And he still catches it.
All right.
28 minutes for Seth Jones in regulation game.
Yeah, Ekblad back in game 2, so that'll alleviate some of that.
Keep your head up.
They'll take out super sniper Belinsky's.
All right, just like that. 1 hour done, and we've solved nothing.
That's fun.
We'll get
Good
another
hour,
crack
good
at
hour.
it this hour when we welcome in one of the most winningest goalies in NHL history, King Henrik Lundqvist. NHL on TNT will join us next. We'll talk Stolarz with him as well. Don't go away. More Real Kyper and Bourne right after these words. All right, let's kick it up a notch here on the Real Kyper and Bourne show as we go national. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, right across all your Sportsnet platforms. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Are we doing text messages, Sammy?
Nope, that's in the lineup from Friday. Forgot to take it off. And also the Jim Hiller clip there is also 5 days old. So
we're just gonna play a throwback Kings
wow, are you prepared?
clip. Leafs night, baby.
But
I played golf today. Too,
on a
so I got
good
no excuse.
a good note is that you brought us the boys' medium Edmonton Oiler jersey.
Well, they're start.
That's a start.
It gets funny. We should put smaller and smaller ones up there every week.
I actually feel like bring it on Henrik Lundqvist. That's what the jersey we have off. I feel like an idiot. Oh well.
Well, as you mentioned, Henrik Lundqvist will join us in a couple of minutes. NHL analyst on TNT, the 6th winningest goalie in NHL history. He's been on the show before. It's great to. Are we zooming him? Because I don't need to be reminded of.
Yeah, we should have a no zoom
how
rule. When
handsome
Hank's
he is and how half chewed caramels we are.
I got news for you, brother.
Yeah,
we're zooming.
We're zooming. Is he gonna wear like one of those killer suits?
A monocle?
Buddy, I have no idea.
A top hat and a monocle?
No idea.
All right.
Well, all right.
So, a couple of series start tonight. Edmonton Oilers are back at it. My cousin wants me to yell at you for disparaging Calvin Pickard in the first part of the show.
Yeah, he's the man right now.
He's the man. He is. Do you believe? I guess we're going to ask the goaltender after this. But can the Oilers win? With Pickard?
The answer is win what? The Stanley Cup? The series?
Yes, the Stanley Cup.
I think Skinner's gonna see some action in this
He'll
series.
get his chance before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and you think Pickard can ride this?
I'm with you. I think I would have gone back to Skinner. They just think he's the better goaltender. They've given him all the starts. He did it last year.
Oh, I wouldn't have gone back to Skinner this early.
No,
but
if you can afford to take a loss, can't you?
A loss brings Skinner back in for game 2.
One? All it takes is one loss?
All it takes is one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Capitals Hurricanes tonight too. Freddie Anderson officially in.
Can we just quickly, just before we move off Pickard, everyone's like, backstops him too. It's 5 goals flew in the net every game. It was just it wasn't like he was exactly Henrik Lundqvist in there. They just scored a ton. He wasn't particularly great.
I did
I'm sorry.
Some AWS analysis that'll be on an upcoming night.
Yeah.
And the Oilers' projected goal rate, their chance creation, is 10 miles better than everyone else in playoffs. There's the league and the Oilers. Their offense is unbelievable. You know who's really good at it? Corey Perry.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Draisaitl, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, McDavid, all those guys, Hyman. But Corey Perry's just effective, man.
Mind in hands, baby. Mind in hands.
I think a lot with Pickard starting has to do with the whole team feeling of putting LA away. It wasn't just a McDavid and Draisaitl show. It was a total team effort. And you guys deserve to get us out of the gate in game 1. And that's
the right
Pickard.
answer.
It is the right answer for me too.
Meritocracy. You got the wins. You play the games until it goes sideways. Give them a chance to carry it or drop the ball. That seems fair.
Before Vegas and Edmonton, Carolina and the Washington Capitals, guys, 7 p.m. Eastern start right here on Sportsnet.
Mm-hmm.
You giving Carolina a shot here with Freddie Anderson back in starting?
Did we learn that the books have them as favorites yesterday?
Huge faves. I think they're minus 180 or minus 170 if I look.
So, yeah, people think I think this is going to be a really close series. I know the Capitals had a great regular season. They're the ultimate no one believed in us team, right? What do they have to do for me to give them some credit? I know I'm getting from some Capitals fans.
I would pick them.
I don't think they're that good.
So you're a Carolina?
I don't think the Canes are that good, but yes, I do think Carolina wins.
Really? Yeah, no. I think it's a fascinating matchup of 2 different styles.
All right. As advertised, the 6th winningest goalie in NHL history is now joining us. And no suit and tie. Phew. Whoa, I was really nervous there for a while. I was going to have to go change. Henrik, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. How's your start to the playoffs this year? Either covering it or at times maybe home watching some of these games?
It's been awesome, I think. The game's been so thrilling and the back and forth, and it's unpredictable. working on TV, you try to pretend like you know what you're talking about, and talking about the teams that are gonna win it, and then you're all wrong, right? Because again, I feel like there's so many teams that can win it this year. I think it's great for the game, for the fans. So no, it's been awesome. We had a couple really long shifts with TNT. The last one last week, and I think we worked for 13 hours. So it was a lot of hockey that day. Excuse me. But overall, no, it's just fun to be around it and see the talent and the excitement that the players show.
With your career, you're not supposed to be working 13-hour days, man. You're supposed to be done with that level of effort.
Yeah, you know what? When I sign up the different dates, I don't know how many games I'm signing up for, and then I show up that day. It's like, no, actually, we have 4 games today, back to back to back to back. I'm like, man, I didn't know that.
Top bound. So, what did you make of that day? Did you guys have the Winnipeg game?
Let's see I don't remember. It's a blur. It's been so many games, right? But it was this past Saturday. So anyways, when you work that long, you hope for the really exciting last game, because you finish your shift around 1:30 at night, right? So it helps when you have 2 good teams going at it.
I did want to get your thoughts on the goaltending in that Winnipeg series in particular. We up here in Canada have been following that with great interest. Connor Hellebuyck is the best goalie in the world, except he's kind of not right now. What do you make of what's going on there?
Well, listen, I don't want to take away anything he's done during the regular season. Just phenomenal, so good. Like the numbers are incredible. I think he is playing behind the best defense in the league, so that obviously helps. But in the playoffs, I feel like players are doing a better job getting in front of goalies, paying a higher price to make it harder for goalies. So sometimes you might see a dip, but I think if I'm Winnipeg, I feel really good the fact that you won the first series and you haven't seen the best of Hellebuyck yet. So obviously that's great news for them.
So Henrik, you speak of the attention to detail players have in front of you this time of year, and there's no question whenever I played in the playoffs, it was like go to the net, bug the goalie, bump the goalie, take the goalie's eyes away, and it was not comparable to a regular season game. We know that. What about the difference and the slide between a style of play for a regular season goalie to a playoff goalie? What did you experience in terms of what you needed to change to make that transition, knowing that the players are making those changes?
Well, I don't think you try to change anything, but goalies that are really good at playing through traffic and finding pucks through bodies usually have better success in the playoffs, because if you watch, a lot of the goals are just wristers up top, through guys and deflections. So if that's something that you struggle with a little bit, it's going to hurt you a little bit in the playoffs. You saw how Hellebuyck got hurt a little bit last year in the playoffs from up top with a lot of screen shots, and it was kind of similar in the first round here as well. But again, I think it's a big part in playing in the playoffs as a goalie. You will be bumped into more because there's more. It's just crowded in front of you. So in a way, you just as a goalie have to embrace it, the fact that they're going to bump in more into you and be more in your face. And then again, the screen shots is a huge part of it. So you have to be so active, try to find the pucks more than just stopping the ones you see.
So do you physically have to change your game in playoffs? I know you obviously had some structure you would have relied upon, but did you find that you had to play a different game?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't change anything. And for me, I played pretty deep, so I didn't come outside the crease very often. So obviously that helped, and there was crowded in front and getting less bumped into. But no, the way you approach it, the way you practice, you don't want to change things. I mean, whatever helped you have success during the regular season, it's going to help you in the playoffs too. But you have to be aware of certain changes that's going to happen in the playoffs, and what we just talked about, the intensity in front of you and the more contact and more screens.
You're watching and listening to Henrik Lundqvist, who's now covering the NHL for TNT, 6th winningest goalie in NHL history. So, Henrik, when it comes to a guy like Sam Bennett or whoever you faced over your career that is constantly in your face, someone to watch for, and how did your mindset go in terms of a guy like that and still maintaining focus on the big picture here? Is it difficult in a 7-game series?
I mean, yes and no. Of course, they're all great players. They will try to do their part to make sure you're not playing your best game. But as a goalie, the best thing you can do is just be aware of it and know it's coming and don't react to it. Because if you start reacting to, every whistle when they're in front of you, hacking and whacking your gloves, for example, and suddenly you lose a couple % of your focus towards that instead of your own game. So I think going into any playoff series, you look at the team you're facing, you look at the players, you know them pretty good, so you know what's coming. And mentally you prepare for it. And I think that allows you to stay more in your zone and focus on your game rather than reacting to all these things, because it's going to happen. If you play a 7-game series, things gonna happen, and you can't afford to overreact to the things that's gonna go on throughout the series.
And oh boy, did it happen here in Toronto in Game 1 between Sam Bennett and Stolarz. So give it to us straight here, on what you saw, and if you were Stolarz and the Leafs, how would you react?
Well, here's the thing. As a goalie, you're very exposed when players coming from the side because of your stance, your neck. So it doesn't take much for you to hurt your neck or even get a concussion when players cut in from the side like that. In my opinion, it wasn't that hard when he came in from the side. But again, because of how you stand as a goalie and expose your head and your neck, it doesn't need much to have a big impact, right? But in terms of response, again, you got to be smart and as a team, how you go back and forth with the other team, because it is first to 4 series, right? So it's more than just one game. It's back to what I said earlier about not overreacting. It was unfortunate. I think it was it contact? Was it a penalty? Yes, but beyond that, I'm not so sure.
Henrik, what do you think about the decline of the every game starting goaltender? Like, if you look around the league, the Leafs kind of have a couple of options. Skinner and Pickard are doing their thing in Edmonton right now. There's a number of teams that kind of are trying to sort it out with multiple guys. Do you think that a guy like Hellebuyck, who plays all those games, do you think it affects him deeper in playoffs? Just guys don't play that many games anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. It's changed a lot over the last 10 years. It used to be one guy, and I mean, we used to play 65 to 72 plus games a year, plus the playoffs. And then I would say about 10 years ago, it started to change a lot in terms of game management and staying fresh. And but no, I think if you're a top guy, you can handle it. You want to be out there, definitely. You don't want to sit out and rest to prepare for the next 2 games. But I think personally too, when you played a lot, you relaxed more. You tend to get into a better flow, and you didn't have to work that hard to get that game readiness. Because at least for me, when I sat out, I was usually more tired coming back that first game after a break. If I set out 1 game or sometimes 2 games, coming back that next game, I felt like I had to work really hard to get my focus where it needed to be. So I love just play, and
So
I tend to relax more.
yeah, so what would Henrik Lundqvist be like today as a teammate, or living with you at home, if you had to start your career over again, knowing that you'd never play more than 50 games?
Well, obviously you adjust to what's going on, right? It was an adjustment when I start going from 70, 72 games a year to 65 to 60. But you also understand it's a different view on how to manage it. Hold on, someone is calling here. There we go. Am I back?
You're back.
Gratz,
I'm back.
Biz, who's calling you?
Actually, my wife.
Oh, you guys
And now I'm
might
on
have
the
to hang
side
up on
here.
us.
Where were we? Yeah. So again, I think players that come up now and enter the league, they're just so used to, playing less and having a tandem, and for a lot of teams, it works well.
Mhm. So, how are you finding the adjustment now to the media side? How do you like being on that desk? How's it working with the boys at TNT?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a fun group. I work with a great group in New York as well for MSG Networks, but not right now at TNT. And you guys know there's a lot of off time and not being in front of the cameras, a lot of time discussing the game and what's going on around the league, and we're just having a lot of fun. So I look forward to covering a lot of great hockey here in the next, what do we have, 6, 7 weeks. And obviously TNT, we have the finals on location this year. It was a blast 2 years ago when we had Vegas and Florida. So I look forward to it. It's fun to stay involved in a way with the game, not too much, but still watch and talk about it, and sometimes get an opportunity to talk to players as well.
Is there like when we see a guy like Pickard who will go tonight, or Stolarz, who's played more games this past 2 weeks than he ever has in his career in terms of high pressured, stressful situations here. Is it a lot easier, Henrik, for a guy that's been groomed that way, like who's a pure starter, than asking guys who have never done it before? Like, are we overplaying that? Is there a shelf life for a guy that's never been a number one goalie to take this thing all the way to a Stanley Cup?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're overthinking it, over talking it, because they would not be in the league unless they were a starter at some point throughout their career, and pretty late in their career too. Yes, they had not been a starter in the NHL, but they played at higher levels, probably played in playoff situation. And for goaltending, especially, I think it's more about just knowing yourself, how you respond to pressure and expectations. And you dealt with that. Even if you're a backup in today's NHL, you've been put in those situations leading up to the opportunity to play in the league. So I would say most guys are ready for it. And obviously confidence is a huge factor. So as long as you get a decent start when you have to come in, I think part of it is to show that confidence for yourself, knowing that you can do it, but also to establish it for the team. They can count on you. So that's a big thing when you come in as a backup, I think, especially in the playoffs.
So looking around the league right now, who you got as a favorite? Who you like in here with 8 teams left?
Well, I said when the playoffs started, I really like Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to stick with them.
It's a good pick.
Can't change now, but no, I love their decor.
Yeah.
I just they're big, heavy. It's hard to get in front of their net, and I think that's a big part in winning and losing in the playoffs. Who controls the middle of the ice? And I feel like they're doing a really good job. But back to how we started the interview, like there's so many good teams now, and it's almost impossible to know where this is going, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Logan Thompson or Freddie Anderson between Washington and Carolina? Who you like?
I love Thompson. I think he's been playing incredible all year, but I think he raised his bar here in the playoffs as well. So really impressed with his year, betting on himself. Going there and having such a strong year. Good for him. So I really like what I've seen from him so far.
All right, pal. Well, listen, we'll let you go.
All right.
Are you like in a penthouse on Fifth Avenue right now? Because it's looking like you're on like really
Actually, I'm
comfortable right now.
Yeah, we live in Tribeca. I'm gonna run now with the kids. They have gymnastics here in 10 minutes. So
All right,
New York
pal.
City living.
Hey, really appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the rest of the second round, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
See you soon.
thank you.
That
Appreciate
is
it.
Henrik Lundqvist looking like as calm, cool, and collected
I don't
as
think I've
anyone
ever seen
on the planet.
draw me like one of your French girls pose for that was what a backdrop.
When he flashed up on the screen there, it took my breath away. I was like, oh my God.
Are you just in the middle of a GQ shoot right now.
He's like, sorry, yeah, this is my photographer calling.
Yeah.
It's just not right.
Good insight, man.
But you completely understand why, success as a goalie. Just calm demeanor. Like, imagine that's your goalie. Like, where you're just like, you look at that guy, you have one of the best in the league, and he's just calm, cool, collected. It's a
He
beautiful
wanted
thing.
to be in every game. Like, that's, I know he said he'd adjust, and I'm sure he would, but I'm not even sure he'd be as good playing 45 or 50 games.
Do you think that there is a change in goaltenders now where guys don't want to play every game, where they just want to play half the year, and that's their preference? Because, what kind of competitor doesn't want...
I think it's just being built towards a 1A, and part of it may be now more than ever not willing to commit to $8-10 million to one guy, knowing that it's such a fickle position.
But, it does remind me of running back in the NFL, where for a while they said, it doesn't matter who you have. You just need an okay one and you're fine. And then now, didn't they just give a few running backs a pile of money? Saquon got
a lot. Who's the other guy that got a lot? Really crushing my NFL knowledge.
Yeah,
here, too.
but like with
Derrick Henry got a lot.
With goaltenders, we've just kind of done that too, where everyone made $4 or $5 million. Where it was like no more big tickets. The Bobrovsky thing was a failure. Yada yada. Everyone got
Carey Price still getting checks from the Habs,
and everyone got $4 or $5 million for like 5 years.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, Bobrovsky wins the Stanley Cup. Vasilevsky looks really good, and it was like, I think goalies are going to be.
What did Thompson get?
Revalued.
I don't know if Thompson made 7. He might be at 6.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 seems to be the the safe window.
But it's I don't believe in you enough to make you the guy. I could supplement that with a $1 or $2 million backup who might be better than you.
Or I could eat $1.5 million too and find a way to get rid of you.
Yeah, but you pay a guy 9, 10, 11 or whatever Shesterkin, those
Now
guys
you're
got.
stuck.
You're saying you're my goalie. Not many people are believed in like
Thompson got
35 mil over 6 years, so 5.85.
Yeah, that's a great deal for a guy that now is your go-to guy. And certainly getting the job done up until now.
Didn't they give Lindgren a contract too? Their backup?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I think he's at 3.5.
And that's the thing, though. You get a guy like that. Yeah, you're at 5, you're at 3, you got $8 million in goalies.
8.5 for 2 goalies.
Laughing.
While Ottawa's in for that with Allmark now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, several teams are in for that with a guy, and if you bet wrong on a guy at that big ticket, you're hamstrung.
And the Leafs have the best value.
What are they total this year? $4 million or something? No, Woll's on 780 or whatever this year.
Kicks in next year. His 3-year deal kicks in next year.
Combined, they make 3 points.
Yeah, and they've
Not
gotten
bad.
some of the best in the league for it, so it's pretty good.
Good value.
Game time?
Time game.
Pardon? No. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. All right, so the 2 series that get underway tonight, we were talking about them earlier, Edmonton and Vegas and Carolina and Washington. So we looked at the series number for yesterday, and just to go into these games tonight, the Washington Capitals open up on home ice as they're the first seed in the Eastern Conference, correct?
Correct. Second overall in the league.
They open up as a plus 115 underdog on home ice against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Where's that based from?
It's a great question.
Well, where does that, because we think Sebastian Aho's going to win the Conn Smythe? Like I don't know.
I don't think people
it.
think the Caps are that good.
And I'm sure Bet365 uses a lot of analytics stuff in their line setting and all that. And you know what? The analytics love this Carolina team.
I will say, this is actually, I kind of regret what I said before about picking Carolina. I was rushing that thought. This is the prototypical big playoff team versus the Canes. The Canes have been the same playoff team for however many years. It does seem to end up favoring those big teams. Close series.
So there's definitely some value. There is some value in the Caps in this series.
No. Freddie Anderson's track record for disappearing.
And also, how big is like Tom Wilson and Dubois and Eller and Duhaime and Protas? And, that's a big group of boys.
Quite frankly, I'm surprised that Anderson's playing. Like, it just doesn't feel like this is usually what he does.
The nudge was only slight. We were
Yes,
told.
correct. Kind of like the one last night. And then the Vegas Golden Knights are opening up tonight minus 140 favorites against the Edmonton Oilers, who are plus 120 on the other side of the money line. So if you like the Oilers tonight, some good value on them. And as we start the second round started last night, but we check in on the Stanley Cup favorites, the last 8 teams. Your guess as to who the favorite is, gentlemen.
Betting favorite right now with a win in their pocket. Is it the Leafs?
It is not. Kyper?
I want to go Dallas.
Correct. It is the Dallas Stars, 4-1. They're 4-1. It goes to the Oilers at 4.5-1. Panthers 5-1. Carolina 5-1. Toronto Maple Leafs 5-1. Vegas 7.5-1.
There's your bet.
Winnipeg, the President's Trophy winner, 11-1, and the second best regular season team in the league, the Washington Capitals, 11-1. No respect for the regular season from Bet365. Does that surprise you?
Yes, is the answer.
It surprised me too.
Dallas, eh?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, close it off.
Yep, okay. That was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. It's 18 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Talk of Jason Robertson coming in.
Yeah.
That's a big boost to Dallas. I don't know where Miro Heiskanen is.
Still not ready?
I told you he had no chance of seeing the first round.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to suggest that
I don't think he's going to play.
He's not going to play in this round. Like, this could be where we see him, but like, he's still fighting a lot of issues in that first round. So that would be great if we see him. But
Trying to make sense of why it kind of felt like he was getting close to showing him on the ice.
They called him day to day. That's why, because they came out and made people believe that he could make an appearance.
Is that just trying to give the opposition something else to think about, worry about?
I can't speak of it, and I don't know what information that Peter DeBoer had on a daily basis from the medical team. Maybe that's how it was presented to him.
Quinn Hughes is coming.
I have been, in the coach's office there with the Marlies when we were in playoffs, and like, what was the Trump line that, with the media, it was flood the zone with S word, just give them a lot to sort of handle.
Yeah.
The more wrong information, the more you can give the opposing coach and team to think about, the better. Maybe that's the Heiskanen sort of thing. They're just like, yeah, maybe he's coming in. Maybe you should worry about that too.
So what you're telling me is they're sending Heiskanen to Alcatraz.
Or El Salvador, one of the two.
The one thing about Dallas too,
yes,
is this Wyatt Johnson again.
Stud.
Hockey player.
Team Canada.
But he's not even 22 years old.
Yeah.
You know how many Game 7s he's played?
4?
In the NHL?
Yeah.
Really?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Or maybe 4.
I'm trying to think.
I think it's 3.
Okay. I don't have the answer. I just guessed.
Yeah.
It's a lot, though.
It's a lot.
And he's won all 3.
He's 21 years old.
That's invaluable experience early in your career.
3-0, because he has DeBoer as his coach, who's 9-0.
How about, can we talk about DeBoer being 9-0 in Game 7?
So hold on. Wyatt Johnson's got, I think, 3 goals in those Game 7s.
Really? How do you not have a Stanley Cup when you've won 9 Game 7s for DeBoer?
It seems like a statistical anomaly for sure.
It seems like if you told me someone had won 9-0 in Game 7, I'd be like, they got a couple of cups.
Absolutely. No,
him and Nil. Nil also doesn't have a cup, right? Them winning would be very like Paul Maurice, late career. Good to see these guys get it. They earn it. Not the DeBoer's late career.
Do you think, I know you don't care about Team Canada stuff, it's a long way out, but you think Wyatt Johnson's got to be a consideration for it? 2 Dallas guys, Harley and him.
Ooh. Can we do the Connor Bedard?
I think
we'll do it after.
You know what? Okay. All right.
Let's go to break.
No, we'll go to break, and then when we return, we'll get into Wyatt Johnson and this whole World Championship, because it's linked towards your question on who's going to represent Canada in the Olympics next season.
We got to talk about your Islanders. Draft lottery. Hi-yo.
Number 1.
Wow, have we got still a lot of meat on the bone on the Real Kyper and Bourne show when we return after these words. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. As a reminder, this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365.
Did you want to review our picks from the first round?
Oh, how do we do? Depends.
Yeah, it depends if he looked like an idiot or not.
No, you don't look that bad.
Okay, then let's review.
So
that bad, he says.
Decision.
all three of us had Winnipeg. None of us got the games right. You said 6. You said 6. I said 5.
Okay.
So none of us got the game right, but we all had Winnipeg. All three of us picked Colorado, and we're clearly all wrong.
Oh, we got robbed.
So we all picked Vegas.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I definitely did not.
You did.
No.
No,
Definitely
no,
did
he
not.
picked Minnesota.
Kipper, Borny, I went back and
sorry.
listened.
They're playing Vegas now. Ignore me.
Borny, I went back and
you're right.
listened. You listened. You picked them.
Did you pick Minnesota?
Gaz
did? No.
picked Minnesota.
You mentioned Gaz picking it when I listened back.
All right, I thought you blew it on Minnie.
No, but we
No,
all picked
my bad,
Vegas,
my bad.
and you got the correct number of games.
I knew it exactly, just like I was saying
Vegas
this whole time.
Vegas in 6 is what you said.
All right.
Kipper went Kings. You got X on that one.
See, this is what I meant. I picked Oilers.
And then we both took Oilers in the correct number of games. 6.
Red hot.
Yep. We all went Leafs. You both got it.
4 for 5 here.
You both got it right in the number of games. I got the number of games wrong. Tampa, you took.
That didn't look
And
good.
I got to tell you, you also picked Tampa to beat Colorado in the final.
Final, eh?
Yeah.
Wow, you got crushed in the first round.
Final, huh?
Still looks good on paper.
Me
I was
and,
like Matthew shooting on the empty net last night. Just a bit outside.
and Kipper and I both went Florida, but we both said 7, and it was only 5. And then Washington, we all had, and Borny got the correct number of games with 5 games. And then I went Carolina, you two went Devils. So I went. I only got 1 wrong. You got a few wrong.
I went 5 for 8,
Yeah.
but I did nail the games
Hey.
in about 4 of them.
Yeah.
So
I went 7 for 8.
Sheldon has trouble this time of year.
he didn't have his number 1 set.
I know, but
That hurts.
I know it didn't help.
Didn't have his defense either.
But
No Dylan, no Hughes,
I know,
no Kovacevic,
I know. It's just
no Siegenthaler.
Maybe they're not that good.
Maybe they're not that good.
They're nice. So 2nd round picks before we get into the Bedard
Second
conversation.
round picks.
second round picks.
So we all three, just to remind everybody, all 3 of us yesterday picked the Leaf series in our first hour.
Yep.
Kipper said
I took Florida
in
in
7,
7.
and me and Borny both said Leafs in 7. So there you go. There's a pick for that one.
Yep.
Oilers and Vegas.
Give me Edmonton again. Give me 6 games. I think they're just getting hot.
I picked LA because I thought they would have been better defensively
Mm-hmm.
from the net on out. I still believe that with Vegas. I did not see anything out of the 24 goals the Oilers allowed in the first round to LA to change my mind defensively for them. They want to, if that gang can outscore Vegas, good on them. But I think it catches up. I think the net and the blue line catches up to the Oilers. I'm going to go Vegas in 7.
Oilers in 7. They can win a game on the road to win it.
Wow.
Oilers in 7 for me.
Okay. All right.
And
so
then
that's
go ahead.
2 series, 2 left to pick.
Carolina and Washington.
I've changed my mind since the start of the hour.
Okay.
I've put more thought into this. I'm picking Washington.
Mm.
I'm going to pick him in 7 just because I'm obviously conflicted, and 7's a bailout. but
Yeah. Kipper?
I'm not betting against the Washington Capitals. I think they wore down the Montreal Canadiens, and I think they will wear down Carolina. I like Brent Burns, but I think it's got to catch up to a guy that old.
Yeah.
They also have Slavin. That helps.
Yeah, no, Slavin. I think the blue line, I think
You like
Bet
Chatfield?
365 or anyone else
You like Pesci?
would like
Pesci's jersey.
Carolina's blue line as much as King Henry liked Vegas's blue line. It's a Slavin. Chatfield's a nice 4, 5, 6 for me.
Yeah.
I really like this guy.
Do you put Slavin in the 4, 5, 6? Is that what you just said?
No,
Chatfield.
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 Okay, yeah.
I like Chatfield at 4, 5, and 6. Late, but I don't know.
All right, let's speed these picks up
I
here.
don't need Sebastian Aho, a star. The game breaker for Carolina.
That's all they got, man.
Sveshnikov, is he going to turn into a star, a horse this series?
No.
So what's the pick?
Washington in 6.
Okay. I will say the exact same.
Okay.
Washington in 6.
What did you have?
I have Washington 7.
Ooh.
And then Dallas, Winnipeg.
Jets talk.
has home ice advantage again. And I think this one's going 7. Jets in 7.
Did
Jets.
the first round get Connor right back to where he is as an MVP?
No.
Do you have any confidence at all that he
Some.
dodged a huge bullet here,
Yes, he did.
and he will find his game?
No, I'm not super confident, but listen, both the Jets, Leafs, and Oilers picks are all a little bit like, I don't really know. These are close series. They're the Canadian teams. I'm rooting for them. Might as well bet on them.
I actually don't think this is particularly close.
Really?
You have Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
Not in 5.
Okay, I'll say 6.
6.
You got scolded into
Yeah.
Shifley's a game time decision.
So is Morrissey.
Morrissey and Stanley all in non-contact jerseys today.
Shifley with a suspected concussion.
Sam Bennett sneak in there or what?
I just think Dallas, that moment, them overcoming that team, like they're playing. Any team must feel like the easiest team ever after playing them.
Yeah.
You know, like that was a Stanley Cup final-esque first round. Those two teams playing against each other, going in, no Shifley,
Jets
no
are in
Morrissey. They're in tough.
Jets are in tough. If Dallas gets back Heiskanen, I get to change my pick to Dallas in 7.
Okay,
That's my one clause.
Yeah,
Winnipeg in 7.
I'm Dallas in 6.
Okay, one conversation we had 0 time for yesterday.
You got to pick that one, Dallas.
I'll take Dallas in 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Another 7, and then Dallas will eventually run out of gas. I think going all these series
Points.
distance.
All right.
Okay, one conversation we didn't have yesterday, we ran out of time, but you guys wanted, was this whole Team Canada as it links to the World Championship, as it ultimately links to the Olympics next season.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 added names that raised eyebrows, including mine, was Sidney Crosby and Nate McKinnon going.
Sidney Crosby and Nate McKinnon. Sorry, that's 37-year-old Crosby and Hart Trophy winner Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
Okay, just confirming.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
is McKinnon for sure? Because it was mentioned. It was
It's on the website.
confirmed?
Crosby McKinnon
Yeah.
coming to
Okay,
Stockholm.
Good.
Yeah. Is this, first of all, is this just Sidney Crosby saying, I have no meaningful hockey to look forward to. I haven't in the past few years. Give me this.
I think what you're getting towards is you think this might be him being like, I want to be at the Olympics. I'm representing the country because I want to be chosen.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need that though.
Okay.
He's going.
He's
Like
going.
he
Doesn't
could-
matter how his year goes next year.
This has nothing. He is the exception to the rule. You can look at 99% of the roster and say, you guys have something to prove to me with your commitment. He's excluded
He
from
could
that.
have 30 points next year, and they'd be like, it's Sid.
He's
We're bringing Sid.
going to
Okay.
the Olympics.
That's fine. So then, yes, that's the obvious answer, is that he doesn't want to have 6 months off hockey. He wants to play competition and stay in shape and represent Canada, right?
I do think if I'm going to do the bleeding heart Canadian take, it's that we're back into the real best on best times, and he's the captain of Team Canada, and he feels a certain responsibility to captain Team Canada when they play at the men's senior
Yes.
national level. Like, I think that he cares about this stuff. He cares about his Team Canada legacy.
And he knows he's going.
He
and
just wants to go. And McKinnon's going to be there. That probably helps too. They can have some chats.
If this is my team, then it's got to be my team now.
Exactly. So, I mean,
which is
nightmare. Those two talking about those two fan bases worried about who wants to go play for whose team.
Well,
which again speaks value of the man's character.
Yes.
I mean, Sid's a stud. We've all agreed on that for a long time.
Okay, so where we're going with this?
Well, we're going with this is how can he feel this way and others can't still, and where this leaves Connor Bedard. And I've not read up on this. The last I heard was that there might have been some injury involved or rest involved that has kept him from making a commitment to go.
Is that right?
Rest.
Rest?
Is that what you said? Rest?
Either he's hurt or he wants to rest.
Now, he played game 82, right?
I assume. I haven't looked in a while.
I think he played game 82. If he could play and he just doesn't want to go play at the World Championships for Canada, I would be very frustrated. And so I'm not going to assume that he's able to. I'm going to assume that he is injured and needs to heal in time for next season. But if this guy can play, this would be really frustrating. You know, you talk about guys being handed things early based on their name and the way, you know. Am I alone in this?
I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm disgusted that he's not going.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of this guy coming out of junior. I said he's going to score 50 goals in his rookie year. I loved him in junior. I loved the World Juniors. Sid going, Nathan McKinnon going. I don't know how you couldn't change your mind.
So if
like,
we're
you don't want to
about-
go, you don't want to go around, be around those guys and watch those guys' habits and play on the same team as those guys. Celebrini's going.
Well, and when we're picking centers for next year's
he's got no
Canadian
chance.
team, like Suzuki is on now. He's like played his way, or at least close to.
But
Wyatt
he didn't
Johnston.
go. He didn't go either.
Yeah, that hurts him.
It hurts him too.
But
It's just,
Wyatt Johnston's going to go. You already got Sid.
Yep.
You already got McKinnon. You already got McDavid. Gets pretty darn hard.
There's a report in The Athletic. I'm just reading now. Scott Powers says Bedard declined the invitation to focus on his off-season development.
Oh.
So, I mean,
like, go play with the best players in the world. That's development.
go sit
Games that
beside
matter.
go sit beside Sidney Crosby and talk to him. Is there ever going to be a better development than that? I don't know. I feel bad ragging on him because it's just such an easy target, but this is a bad look, boys. It just is.
It's a bad look.
Okay,
It's a bad
I'm
look.
going to give you another potential bad look. Okay, is that everybody's got this high standard that, you know, show me your commitment, show me that you come here, you want to go to the Olympics, and one leads to another. And then you invite Marc-Andre Fleury, who's retiring, and he's excluded from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused. Which one is it? It's this is the link to get to the Olympics, or this is hey, let's invite Marc-Andre Fleury and have a great finish to your career.
I think it can be, we are trying to field the best team we possibly can. And, you know, if you're, that may include inviting Bedard, and it may include inviting Fleury, but one of them, in Bedard's case, it can have some impact on how committed people think he is to the program. Fleury, we know he's a Canadian hockey player. He's been to everything, right?
Yeah.
So it can be we're just trying to win the World Championships, which we should try to win everything we're in. It's not developmental tournaments.
You've got your who are the goalies going right now?
I looked at the roster. I can't find
They played today in a pre-tournament game against Hungary.
Okay.
And Dylan Garand started, and Carter George, who was played for the Owen Attack this year, was the backup.
Okay. So if you have a chance to have an NHL goalie, you do it.
There's no NHL goalies right now going to it.
God,
I don't know.
Where's
the
Montembeault?
state of Canadian goaltending is shambles.
Where's
Montembeault?
Montembeault? Where's
got
he?
hurt. Remember, he got hurt in that series.
Oh,
So
that's
he's
right.
got
the
the
hamstring.
Dobich went
Okay.
in. Yeah.
We have no other Canadian
Logan
NHL
Thompson's
goalies
in.
available.
Bennington just finished. That's a tough ask, maybe.
I bet you he goes.
Okay, so we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
They have
They
no
need humans.
NHL Canadian
Well,
goalie
good,
right
hey, good
now.
talk, boys. We figured it out.
Dude,
Although my
how-
boy Carter George, wouldn't mind seeing him getting some games.
That is
CG, what's up?
that's sad.
It's getting pretty bleak, man. Hey, Sam Cosentino, do we got any goalies coming?
Yeah, Books.
Books,
Find one
we
for
got any
us.
goalies coming for Canada? Help.
Wow.
So, we good on that conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
I'm annoyed.
We solved nothing. We're just mad at each other.
No,
now.
we solved something.
I'm
Oh,
mad.
they have no goalies.
Yeah, we have no goalies.
That
We
we're
did solve
screwed.
something. Good for us.
Morning.
Hmm.
Islanders.
You know, I really appreciate the league after they took the All-Star game from Long Island, giving us the first overall pick.
A guy on the text line in all caps says, "Tell Justin the Islanders the only reason they got the first pick is because Bettman canceled the All-Star game, and that's the payback." All
Let
caps.
it be known.
Frozen
Who cares?
envelope.
Yeah, whatever.
What was their percentage?
You
3?
watched it happen, by the way. 3.5%.
I can watch that show 10 times and I won't understand it yesterday.
No clue.
The balls popping and then the numbers and none
It
of them.
used to come up with the logo of the
There's
team
no
you
logo
picked.
on the balls. So
I also didn't understand the order of the teams. It was like first, second, fourth. They were,
So
I guess Utah jumped.
when they announced the Islanders as the first pick, that's when the show should be over.
It builds to that.
It should build to that.
Correct.
It's not like it's like announcing the Miss America winner in a pageant and
First.
then saying,
Stay
"Hey,
tuned
and
for who's third."
and stick around for the rest of the show, and we'll tell you who's fifth." It's like, no, I'm out. Islanders win. The show's over.
I know the sequence of balls was 7, 11, 12, 13, which I added up to 43. Next year will be the 43rd year since the Islanders have won the Cup.
Wow.
It's meant to be. Kenny Morrow, good luck charm for the Isles. Good to see him there. Guys, Long Island needs this. They got that new building. They just need a star player.
Maybe next year would have been the year to win it.
Next year would have been preferred. Yeah.
Well, Schaefer, though, apparently is a stud. He was really good in that first
I will
game for
say,
Canada.
I don't love that in the year you get the first overall pick, the top guy's a D-man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not as fun as watching.
Takes longer.
Yeah, and you don't.
Hedman.
Yeah, you don't get to see like.
Hedman in Dallas or in Tampa Bay, right? First 3-4 years, you're like,
Yeah, a bit of a moose
he's
on roller
steady.
skates.
You know, Darlene. How long before Darlene was
Yeah.
a top guy? You know, like it takes a sec. So,
Yeah.
all right, but they're good to have in the end.
so go get your forward then.
Misa.
Yeah.
I am not going to sit here and pretend to know
Okay, I was gonna
one
say,
from the other.
Good.
I get people texting me, would you take Schaefer or Misa? It's like, gee, I'm on the radio talking about the NHL every day. How much junior hockey do you think I've seen a season?
Next year is the true, like we are going to
Kevin
see
McKenna.
an all-time tank job situation. Like
How about the Penguins? Just never close to playoffs. Didn't get close in this 11th overall pick.
Gavin McKenna has played
What
13
is-
playoff games.
like,
He has 35
They
points, by the
knew
way.
that. Like you're racing for. Oh, the strategy is mind-boggling by Pittsburgh.
It's not going good.
Calling up Jari and having him win games at the
We're
end.
red hot. Why?
Right? To go get the 11th pick overall.
They'll be worse next year, and it'll be from Mario to Yager to Sid to McKenna.
It's coming.
Frozen envelope again. The Pittsburgh bar. The Pittsburgh bottle. My ass.
Pittsburgh market.
Our thanks to King Henry Lundqvist joining us at the top of the hour. All right, give me some scores tonight, guys.
Oilers 4-2?
4-2.
Carolina loses 3-1.
Sure. Sign me up for one of those.
All right. Don't go anywhere. Games are coming up right here on Sportsnet. Enjoy them. And we're back tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. You get a chance, give us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great night, everybody.